Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go.
The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. The famous Rectangle in Speedway, Indiana. Since its inception in 1909, this has become the most famous motor racing facility on the planet. Hosting the Indianapolis 500 NASCAR, and tonight the SCAR Radical Series. Tonight we find ourselves not on the famous 2.5-mile rectangle, but on the interior twists and turns on the newly updated road course in the iRacing service. Who is going to be able to tame the Brickyard and the twists and turns? We'll find out together. Welcome everybody to PTR TV, where tonight we do, as I said, have the SCAR Radical Series race number 9 in their campaign here tonight at the Brickyard. It's going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the truck giving you the calls. Currently under qualifying conditions right now, we do find ourselves, and we'll put the ticker on the top of the screen where you can see where everybody does stand right now. It's been a little bit of time since we've covered this series here on the channel. We did miss the Gateway race a few weeks ago. Did have a little bit of a smaller car count there, so we chose to not cover that one, but we are here with a very good size field ready to take to the new layout here at Indianapolis. Of course, it was just released on the iRacing service just in time for the NASCAR and IndyCar real world events at the end of late July. So we do have a slightly different complex on the beginning of the track, and then there's a new complex that omits running the reverse configuration of the turn 4 oval. So that will be omitted. There's no banking to be speaking of with the oval in this layout, which is quite rare for a Roval layout. In terms of what will be happening, of course, we do have our win penalties in the series, and as it does stand, we do have quite a few. Andrew Locke, James Vance, and Alfie Sharon will all be forced to not be able to qualify and get an EOL, with Steve Singer, Zach Millett having the multiple wins. They will be getting EOLs and on each portion of the race, because remember, this is a road course, rather a Roval, so we do have a specific set of rules here. We'll bring up our Sunshine Boy on Twitch race details. 50-minute race, 50% fuel, but we do have on the Roval configuration racetracks on the schedule, we do have the competition caution tonight will be at 20 minutes with pit stops being the pits being closed at 15 minutes or so. So that will be a little bit of a race break, kind of have 20 minutes, probably about 5 to 10 minutes of caution, and then we'll have another 10 minutes to finish it out. But right now we are seeing Jason Duckworth on screen right now. He is the fastest in qualifying thus far, so great for him in that capacity with a 1:21.807. Be interesting to see how it does work out, because remember, with that win penalty for Zach Millett, who's basically the money man of this series. He has been the one to win the most races and dominate many of such. He'll have an EOL, and a drive-through penalty to start the second half. So it's almost a given that he won't win, but that's only going to up the ante of him trying that much harder. David Tamira on screen right now has had many a good run this season. I just want to double check to see. Yeah, still waiting on that first win. He had a stretch of 3 second place finishes in a row. Still waiting on his first win, starting third here with a very good lap time, so it should be rather competitive for Tamira. Of course, with our layout here being very straightaway based. Of course, we have the front stretch here at Indy. We'll kind of show you the turn one. Of course, the entire, about 3/4 of the front straightaway here we will be running. Then we do have our interior section here. We do have this long mid stretch here, if you want to use such a term. So that will give at least 2 major drafting opportunities for these drivers. And as we do know, these radicals do quite fancy the slipstream, so that will keep guys close to it. There's very few track limits here. You'll see guys using every ounce of asphalt, and they'll be able to take advantage of that. We did see in the NASCAR series here that in turn 1 there is an access road. I don't know if I have a good shot of it. You can see it to the top right of your screen. These guys do have the access road if they do need it, but I don't see, and there is a rule that you can't kind of do the Ross Chastain and just drive through it as an alternate way to take a lap. You do have to make a full complete stop or potentially risk a penalty. So we'll see how that does shape out, but we are closing in here on the end of the qualifying session. The cool down side of it is coming to a close, so do want to thank everyone for tuning into PTR TV. Of course, if you haven't liked and subscribed, would appreciate if you took care of that for us and helped us on our road to 1,000. But that is the countdown. So these guys are headed down trackside to get ready and raring for tonight's race. So let's go ahead and give it to you, the PTR TV starting lineup here today for the Scar Radical Series at the Indy Road Course. On tonight's poll with that lap time of 1 minute 21.807, Jason Duckworth with Dakota Anderson on the outside of the front row. In the third spot, we're going to find David Tamira and Brian Rose in the fourth spot. Vincent Short rolling off in fifth with Jason Nethery in the sixth position. In seventh, we're going to find Cook Quick with Andrew Locke in eighth. He will probably not be starting there because he is one of our win penalty drivers, as well as Zach Mill and Steve Singer. James Vance, Neil Quick will probably get bumped up, as does Leonardo Elijah and Cody Harder, Mark Truxell and Aaron Conover. So basically about 4 or 5 of those guys on the starting grid will kind of have their positions reoriented via the win penalty system. Of course, that is in place to kind of ensure that some drivers don't just kind of walk away with the series and kind of take some of the fun out of it. So it does kind of help new drivers get their time towards the front of these packs. Do want to give a couple other pieces of pre-race. You could see some drivers there taking their EOLs. Our keys to the race, sponsored by We're Still Looking for a Sponsor. Relatively new layout here, so some guys probably have practiced more than others. Some guys haven't, so it'll be interesting to see who is able to overcome that. Drafting should be pretty big here, and who can overcome, if anybody, who can overcome their win penalties. Can we see any of those top guys come through and manage to come back to victory lane? And then very quickly, our weather conditions here, 80 degrees in the air, 82 with the track temp, and the track conditions here are the overcast, mainly overcast, guys, but you'll see some breaks of sun here, or at least it says overcast, but from what I'm seeing here, there is some sunshine, but the majority of the track is covered. This is one of the new sections of the road course. Traditionally, on the older layout, you would take this oval turn 4 in reverse, oval turn 1 in reverse, but on this new layout, we are taking this little infield carousel section. The pit lane entrance would be off to the left of your display, but here we come for the starting line. Here we come for the start of tonight's race. Barney the flag man does have the flag in hand. We're going to wait and see when Duckworth is going to get ourselves on the accelerator. We're waiting for that green flag, waiting for Barney to throw it. Waiting. Very long time. He's going to hold us to the last possible moment. There it is. We're racing at Indy. And look at the stack up there at the back of the field. Big stack up there. I saw somebody kind of disappear for a brief moment. We're going to come down into corner number 1, Chaos Corner here at Indy. And that's David Tamira using the outside there through turn 1 to take the lead. So far, it looks like everybody else has managed to get through with relative cleanliness. Don't see anybody completely off. We did have a little bit of stack up there on the initial start here as we head off of 5 and 6 down our back straightaway. Hard on the binders here for turn number 7. You can see the big turtle curb there on the left right there. You're not going to want to use that turtle curb because these radicals are very, very low to the ground. Some carnage going on there. That's the 15 machine of Vincent Short. A couple other drivers off there. I think that was Cook Quick as well. And perhaps Leonardo Elijah as well. So guys kind of just going a little bit too wide there as our leaders will come down into the final complex 10 through 14. Side by side here, Zach Millett currently in 7th, but he should be getting a drive-through penalty. Actually, it may only be on the second half of the race, I believe. Oh no, 89 machine! Upside down, that's Brian Rose. That may trigger a full course caution. We do have the ability to throw full course cautions if there is a major incident. We'll see if admin does decide to make that call. We'll go ahead and check out our replay here from the blip. 89 just got loose. It's a very hard portion of the track. And that huge contact there, that's with Steve Singer himself, the admin here. Of course, they do get the fast repairs. We'll get one more shot of this from Steve Singer if we can. And we'll see what he saw. See, he's coming off the final corner there, and absolutely nothing he could do, kind of causing some air there for Brian Rose. But we will stay green. But I can't remember where it was. I think it may have been Sonoma, or a couple weeks ago we did actually see, as we'll put the graphic on screen there, we did actually have a full course caution due to a start issue, but we will keep ourselves going. And remember, we do have the caution coming at lap 15. It's probably why they did not throw the caution, because the caution's not too far away, rather on minute 20, excuse me. So Singer there, you can see the very, very damaged Radical SR8 of Singer. But if he can just chug along to the comp caution, he can use his fast repair and continue. Actually, he may be coming down to the pits right now. Yes, he is coming to the pits. The beauty of this track is you can stay on the lead lap as long as he has the pace. He can stay on that lead lap and make that pit stop, and then just have the car in the the reset to get himself that track position back. Tamira hanging on to about an 1/8 of a second lead over Duckworth. Kind of wait to see what the lap times will be. We know they're going to be in the minute 22s. Some drivers in the minute 21s. I don't know if tire degradation will come into it at all. May have a battle going on between Truxell and Locke. Locke will just let Truxell go there. Don't see that too often. That's into 7. See, 7, 8, and then this is a hard part because you really got to stay to the left side of the track. Set yourself up for this. These long sweepers are very difficult. You really have to commit, also be very easy on the throttle. Get on board with Mark Truxell right here, currently running in the 7th spot. Here's our new section. Big turtle curb there. Don't want to use that in these very low to the ground radicals. And then here we come. This is the corner where Brian Rose got loose. I'll tell you from an NASCAR Xfinity perspective, this car, it gets really light in many cars there coming back on to the oval. For the traditional front straightaway here. I'm not sure in the Radical I have not had an opportunity to take this car out at this facility, but I know that is a very light turn. I was reading some pre-race chat, and Steve Singer did say that to go fast here, you really have to trust the car. It's not something that you can kind of just putt your way around. You really do have to, trust what the car is capable of, trust what you're able to get out of the car because there's not a lot of bank. There's no banking here. There's no real elevation. It's all flat corners, so you really have to know what's coming and know what the limits of the car are to get to take advantage of it. That's Neil Quick getting around Truxell. Truxell just pulled over and let him go. See, Dakota Anderson did get around Jason Duckworth, it looks like, I do believe, for that second spot, where Duckworth was our pole sitter, but Tamira did manage to pull away right off the get-go. And we are racing here in the SCAR Radical Series. And the Radical SR8, of course, the Radical SR10 has just become released, or rather about a build, or probably about 2 builds ago, maybe a 1 build ago, I can't remember, on iRacing. And surprisingly, it has not been getting the attention, or rather the positive remarks that you'd expect of a new car on the service. So this Radical SR8, I've actually read quite a few threads lately on the iRacing forums about them wanting iRacing to put this Radical SR8 back into official competition, whether it be in a standalone series or in a multi-class. So whether that ever happens or not, I highly doubt, but this car very near and dear loved by its regular drivers. So if you are watching the stream and interested in joining the series, of course you can reach out both in YouTube chat, or you can look on the SCAR Radical page. We did share a link on our Facebook not too long ago. You can get in touch with them. We did miss race number 8 at Gateway. That was on July 31st, 2 weeks ago. Alfie Sharon did manage to get that win by 7 seconds over Jason Nethery. Alfie Sharon, I'm not sure. I thought I saw him signed up, but I don't actually see him. So that win will go undefended here. Jason Nethery, the second place driver from last week, he is currently running in 6th right now. He's had a couple good runs this season, but doesn't seem to have the full consistency from what I have noticed in following. Sometimes he does fall off towards the end of these races. Zach Millett, remember, our points leader this season. It does have 3 wins. Of course, most of them were earlier in the season before the win penalties became a little bit more difficult than he could attain. He's up by 25 over Steve Singer, who after that pit stop is still on the lead lap, currently 55 seconds back, so he still has roughly 30 seconds in the bank before the lap before the leader does get to him. And Tamira, being that leader, hanging on by about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds up front right now over Anderson and Duckworth, just out of the slipstream range. So I wouldn't worry too much about that if I was Tamira. Basically run your pace. I think if the lead falls to within a second, may have to worry about the slipstream. It should be okay for the time being. Tamira 53 points behind. He's one of the about 5 drivers to run every single race in the campaign, and does have 5 top 5s out of the 8 races this season. So had a couple opportunities at a win, nearly won at the New Hampshire Road Course, a race that Zach Millett had a very severe win penalty, but somehow managed to overcome it. And then I remember Tamira being quite good at Sonoma, but then the pace just kind of fell off as the race progressed. So we'll see if he can sustain here, but the lead is slowly starting to shrink back to Dakota Anderson. Dakota Anderson has run about only 3 races in this current SCAR Radical Series season, with a best finish of 11th, both at Sonoma and Mid-Ohio. Lead of about 1.5 seconds at the moment for Tamira, just hanging on to that, between 1.5 and I'd say 1 3/4 seconds that lead does go between. And then Duckworth hanging back there about 1 second back. James Vance Remember, he was our winner at Mid-Ohio, if memory does serve correctly. Let me just double check my back-end stats here to confirm that. I'm almost certain it was Mid-Ohio that Vance got that win. Oh. Oh, well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe there was some kind of glitch with that. Because I'm looking at the stats and it's not there, but I'm almost positive he did get the win there. There must be a glitch with the back-end stats. But that lead is starting to shrink just a little bit. Now it's down to 1.3 seconds. Interestingly enough, not sure what is going on there to cause that, but whether Tamira is just fallen off here, we'll bring up the lap time graphic on the left side. You can switch over the times to lap times. You can see a 122 flat, so actually Tamira was the fastest last time by, but for some reason just not having the ability to sustain that lead. I'm not sure if it's just varying at different points during the lap or what it is, but for the time being, not what he wants to see, because as I said, once that lead gets down to, I'm willing to say, about one second, that is when the slipstream begins to come in and be more of a big deal. That's when those drivers usually are able to use that and to start picking off maybe a couple tenths at a time, particularly on the long straightaways here at Indianapolis. Just saw on the long shot there that there was a driver about to go a lap down, so we'll see if indeed that does happen before our comp caution does hit. Remember, the comp caution will hit at approximately 20 minutes into the race, so the timer will say 30 minutes on it, and there will be the pits closing at 5 minutes before that, so the pits would be closing when the timer says approximately 35 minutes to go, so that's actually not too far away. So of course, with our 50% fuel loads here, a pit stop is usually required. It usually does happen within the last third of the race, so I'm not sure if the comp caution will be at a time where they can finish the race out. I would imagine it will be. We'll see if everyone is able to complete the pit stop on that time, but lead against hovering right around that 1.5 seconds. Looks like Tamira is getting through this section of the track a little bit better. It does extend it. Maybe Dakota Anderson's getting a little bit of sniff here. No, I wouldn't imagine he's getting a draft from there, but maybe he's getting just a little bit. We'll see. With our onboard telemetry there, about 160 miles an hour down to, he overcooked it there a little bit, down about 45 miles an hour. You can see how the live telemetry, Tamira was able to pull away by about a tenth or so right there. But it seems to these slower sections that Anderson is just a little bit faster. But it appears that Tamira is a little bit faster on the high-speed section. So whether that completely ends up evening out or not, it seems as such that it is. But we may have a couple battles shaping up as we speak right now. Zach Millett closing in on James Vance. That is for the 4th position, as we are at 14 minutes into the race, so the pits will be closing within the next lap in preparation for our comp caution. Hard on the binders into the braking zone for Zach Millett. Last time by, he was about 0.3 of a second faster than James Vance. Between the battle up 2nd to 3rd and 3rd to 4th, and rather 4th to 5th, this is the best racing on the track here. You can see where Millett is right now, about a 0.5 second back. That is what I would call slipstream range. So he kind of see how much he closed in visually there, and if he can get on the binders good enough and nail turn 7, he may be able to take advantage. And look at him there. He really cut that little mini chicane much closer than Vance did, but I don't think it actually benefited him at all. So Maybe that approach did not work as he would have thought. We'll go check on the other battle right now. That's third and fourth, Duckworth and Anderson. Anderson hanging on there, been about that 1.7 seconds back. Tamira and him just mirroring each other's laps. See here from the higher up shot, entering corner number 1 here. Kind of morning conditions we were given here for today's race. You can see on the top right of your screen right there, that's I don't have my telestrator working, but that's where the access road is. That was ever so controversial during the NASCAR series here, so they did make a loose rule to make sure that does not happen. And we are down one driver, Brian Rose. Remember, he was airborne on that first incident. He has retired from tonight's event, so first driver to retire, and unfortunately retired before the pits, or rather before the comp caution. Mind you, the pits will be closed at this point, so we'll be coming into that caution with approximately 2 to 3 more laps, and Tamira starting to lose a little bit of that lead, down to about 1 1/3 seconds. But he has been able to, every time he drops it down to 1 1/3, he has been able to regrow it back up to about 1 3/4 seconds. And that's Leonardo Elijah just in front of him. So it'll be close call. Elijah running about 1.5 seconds off the pace. But he does have about 5 to 6 seconds to spare, so we'll see. It'll be pretty close whether he stays on the lead lap before the end of this. Steve Singer, remember the other driver who we had some concern about, he's still running 52 seconds back, and actually he's about 3 to 4 tenths of a second faster than Tamir is right now. So Steve Singer definitely, if he can overcome with the pit stop and the caution, he may be still able to take a stab at this. He'll have an EOL upon the restart, but he's not going to have that drive-through penalty that Millett has, as Millett is trying to pass Vance there. Tried to go on the outside. That's entering 7. See here, this is, I believe it's to be 9, the right-hander. Then into 10. Rather, this is into, into turn 12 here, hard right-hander. Hard to make a pass here, but it is possible. And then we head through turn 14. This is the final corner, heading back onto the Indianapolis Oval. Onto the famous front straightaway, but in reverse. Let's see if he goes, he's about 2 tenths back. Let's see if he tries to dive it on into corner number 1. No, he's going to take the conservative route here. And if you're looking at the left side of your display, you will see that Tamira is starting to fall off here. He was holding that 1.5 seconds, 2 3/4 lead, but now he's down to 1 second. That's within slipstream range, so we'll see if indeed he is able to be caught. I think we'll get 1 more lap in before the comp caution. I don't know if it'll happen mid-lap or not. It'll be within the scope of the next 1.5 minutes, but the last time by, Anderson 0.3 of a second faster, and at this point, definitely he is going to be using that slipstream to his advantage. Don't know if the tires are falling off for Tamira, but he may very well be looking forward to a pit stop and taking advantage of 4 fresh tires. But here we come to complete a lap number 14 out of a predicted 37 laps. Should be a little bit less, but that's what we're forecasting, at least thus far. We'll be getting our comp caution. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened to Anderson there. That lead went from less than 1 second back up to the 2 1/3 that it was before. Anderson ended up running a 1:22.7 to Tamira's 1:22.2. So, you know, turnaround's fair play. Tamira must have made a mistake, and then, you know, Anderson made it subsequently and it evened itself out. So Still waiting as well on that battle behind for Vance, rather for Millet, to see if he is able to pass Vance. I think he's being rather conservative with this because he knows that at the end of the day it really doesn't mean that much. Of course, he still wants to get the spots, but he knows he's going to be put to the back either way, so not too much of a reason to fight for it. But we are within the 30 minutes now, so caution will be coming out at admin discretion any moment now. We are within that time, and there it is, right on cue. Tamira just started a new lap, so he's basically going to have to drive all the way around. Actually, let's see how it works out. I think he's going to have to drive all the way around. This is right in the turn. Well, actually, no, this is coming to complete a lap. So it actually won't be that bad. The pace car there right at the end of pit road, coming towards the road course turn one side. So we will come and assemble behind the pace car here at Indianapolis. A great run by Tamira to be able to hang on to that lead for the entire stint. Now we are at 28 minutes now. We're probably going to have, I would imagine, 3 laps of caution. So that will probably give us another 20 to 22 minutes of race time, I'm forecasting. Now sometimes admin can shorten the cautions if everybody's all set. But we're pacing right now at approximately 45 miles per hour. So depending how long this caution is, it will cut into our final segment. But if Tamira is able to have a good pit stop, nice and clean, keep the lead, I think he should be able to hang on for the win, barring any mistakes. But we do have to remember that Duckworth was our pole sitter. And Tamira from the outside lane was able to drive it in deeper into corner number 1 and take the lead and never gave it up. Duckworth, as our pole sitter, has had the lead for an effective 500 feet of this race. Now Tamira is going to be our control car, but whether he is able to sustain the lead into turn 1, we will have to find out. But here we are. The pits will be right around this corner here. Again, this is one of the more tough sections of the track because you're exiting. You go on to a very slight bit of banking just for a little bit, hard on the brakes. So at speed, you're kind of braking while going on to the banking, while slightly turning. The very difficult section of the track. And here comes our pit entry. You can see the sign there on the building in the distance. And we should see pit road become a very busy place, as we do. I'll wait and see what happens in regards to what everyone does. Are we taking tires? Are we doing fuel only? We'll have to wait and see. I don't expect anybody to stay out. There really wouldn't be any tangible reason to do so. I think that may be Cody Harger staying on track, but he should be getting, I believe they do waiver rounds, or lucky dogs rather, if I'm not mistaken. And there he goes. So he will have to zoom around and get that free pass. But we'll see what happens with the pit stop. I think Tamira may have baited himself there and entered the wrong stall, but there he goes. We'll see if the jack goes in or if it's just going to be a fuel. I don't see the jack going up at all, but they may just take fuel and tires at separate times in this race. You can see the 15 of Vincent Short getting his fast repaired. I don't see the jack going up. I believe it's just fuel. Tamira will get that lead exiting the pits. James Vance, Andrew Locke, but Jason Duckworth had a much longer stop. He may have taken tires, not quite sure, but let's see what the status of the pace car is. Pace car just entering the mid-stretch there, exiting turn number 6. So what we're going to do, what I'm going to do is just step aside for a brief moment and go to a side-by-side, rest my voice, grab a drink, and I recommend you do the same. We'll be back with you for the restart in just a little bit. And back here on PTR TV after a little side-by-side here. Lights are out on the iRacing official pace car as we're heading down the backstretch here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. I mean, that was just our competition caution. And it looks like kind of right on cue. We had a 20-minute race. The caution took the better part of about 10 minutes, and we're going to have basically 20 minutes to end this out. David Tamira did take fuel only, as based on the back end data that I have, it looks like the top three drivers took fuel only, and the pit stops for fourth on back were about 5 to 6 seconds longer, which would insinuate that some tires were taken. So whether tires ends up being a substantial difference, I guess we'll have to find out together. I can say that the fastest lap of the race for many of these guys was not on the earlier part of the run, so I'd have to imagine that they should be okay. But of course, it'll be a storyline to watch regardless. But Zach Billett in fifth, he's going to end up getting a penalty. He will get a drive-through penalty. Singer and Vance will end up getting EOLs via their win penalties. But here comes Tamira back into the final segment here. We're going to get ourselves ready for the start here. A single file restart. We went very late in the box here. I think we're going on the green flag here, so we're officially on the front straightaway. Things are binding up just a little bit already. as Barney has the flag in hand. And look at off the get-go, Vance was ready to pounce. He's going to go to the right side of the track, but I think he's going to think better of it. To the left side of the track, that's Andrew Locke in the 23. And he's going to just stay in position. Vance locked the brakes up just a little bit here, coming through the 2-3-4 complex. Everybody else, you can see some side-by-side, nearly 3 wide racing here as everybody else manages to get themselves shuffled out. Oh no, we have somebody around. That's Vincent Short. And that's Mark Truxell, who had to go in evasive maneuver in the grass there. But let's go load up the replay, see what happened to Short here. We'll go load up our chopper cam. He said he went hard on the binders into one. Made a great job, though. He managed to keep it checked up. And let's see here. Coming through the 4-5 complex. Not sure really what happened there. It was kind of a weird turn of event. The guy to his left side kind of slowed up a little bit, and maybe just an oddity of netcode, but back to live footage, and he's looped it again, so things not too good in the Vincent Short camp. He'll drop to 14th last on the racetrack. 15 guys showed up, still 14 on track. But up front, David Tamira, he is holding the lead, but he's within that slipstream range as Zach Millett getting his drive-through penalty, so that'll take him out of contention of any sort. That is per the win penalty system. But Tamira, oh no, who went wide there? The James Vance overcooked turn 1, didn't have to use the access road, got it woed up, but lost a ton of time there. That will put him back to the 4th spot. Locke will be in 2nd, Dakota Anderson and James Vance now 4th. With Nethery rounding out our top 5. Steve Singer, he is the 2nd in points. He is currently 7th now, but he's 7 seconds off the lead. Be interesting to see what happens up front right now. We're still... Dakota Anderson is the first driver who we presume to have taken tires just based on the extended pit stop time. It may have just been a longer fuel load as well. All I can go off is the telemetry. But right now, Tamira holding about 3/4 of a second. We can say in terms of best lap time, we'll bring the graphic up on the screen. See the best lap there at 21.9, and then Andrew Locke at a 22 flat. So their best lap potential basically the same. Oh no! Locke goes around off of 14, and he's going to go right into James Vance. That's the 2nd time we saw that exact same wreck. Singer is going to have to play slalom course there on the front stretch. See if we can go back on replay and check that out. 2nd time we've seen that exact same wreck here this evening. See, on board with Vance. And this is where the car gets really, really light. And see, Locke just went around, and I think Vance expected him to stay a little bit lower, but in his correction process, Locke ended up going high on the racetrack. Back to live footage now, and that's going to give Tamira the same lead he had before, about a 1 1/3 seconds, but Anderson's not going to have any drafting help behind him. He's going to have to get it on full merit. But here comes Steve Singer now, in that he's been inherited a top 5, and just as I put him on screen, he's going to go wide into the grass, cost himself a little bit of time, but he should be able to recover from that easily enough. Lost a 1.5 seconds to Duckworth there. He was right on his back bumper. Now look at all the distance he now has to gain. Duckworth has Nethery, who's in that 3rd spot now. So this is probably Tamira's best shot. I mean, Dakota Anderson definitely not one to slouch in tonight's race. You can see his best lap is a 1:21.7, so that's actually faster than Tamira's best lap. And it's just a matter of staying within slipstream range, and a matter of whether Tamira makes a mistake. Tamira just slowly seems to lose it over the course of a long run. But we'll see if he can sustain. But while we have, looks like everything has settled out for the time being, probably as good a time as ever to go ahead and give you a quick through the field. Of course, Tamira up and leading this race as he had for the vast portion of it. Dakota Anderson running in second. Jason Nethery in third. Under fire from our pole sitter, Jason Duckworth in fourth. Steve Singer in fifth, trying to recoup after that grass incident. Leonardo Elijah running in sixth. Mark Truxell in seventh. Zach Millett 37 seconds back in eighth. Of course, he has had his second penalty of the race via the win penalty system. And then Neil Quick in ninth, and everybody else has retired from the race. Vincent Short, Cook Quick, Andrew Locke, James Vance, Cody Harger, and Brian Rose have all retired since from the event. So roughly 14 minutes, so I'd say roughly 12, maybe even 10 laps I would estimate that we have left in the race. And in terms of the stopwatch, last time by, Tamira was 0.4 of a second faster than Tamira, but Steve Singer fastest on the track with a 1:21.9, 0.3 faster than Tamira, but only 0.3 of a second. If he's able to do that every single lap, he's only going to gain maybe 3 to 4 seconds. So it's going to take a catastrophic mistake. Tamira really falling off a cliff. As Jason Duckworth coming down pit road, he may or may not have had a quick incident. Let's try to go back and see if something happened to him. I could see he had some off-track excursion here. Oh, wow, that was the 34 of Nethery. So all of a sudden, this second part of the race has not gone very smoothly for many a driver. Go from a longer shot here if we can. Cameras brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Nethery got the left sides in the grass and absolutely nowhere to go there for Duckworth. So everyone did a good job staying in it on the first segment, but you know, conversely on this second segment of the race, everybody is they can't keep it straight, or they can't stay away from each other. Now, if saying that, David Tamira, you know, he's not going to want that statistic to fly into his direction, because naturally he wants his first win of the season. And I talked about the good runs he's had. We can go into a little bit more detail as the we do have the time to do so right now. And in 8 races this season, I mean, Tamira started it off with a 9th, rather a 10th at Lime Rock, a 3rd at Iowa, a 6th at Watkins Glen, a second at North New Hampshire, Mid-Ohio, Road America, a 4th at Sonoma. Did not have the best of runs at Gateway with a 9th, but still waiting on that first win. But just as I say that, Anderson did gain quite a bit of time through the midsection here. Last time by, Tamira actually 0.4 of a second slower than Anderson, so we'll see if that trend does continue. But just seeing if he can get the monkey off his back and get that first win in his SCAR season. Of course, we are closing in on the end of the season. We're going to head back to the Watkins Glen International Raceway at the end of the month for the boot configuration. We did run the cup configuration there. Now we're going to head to the boot, add a couple corners into the mix just for fun. We will round out the season at Homestead version A, and then finally the Charlotte Roval at the end of September for the current SCAR season. Of course, we've been with these guys since about mid-April here, but the lead now up to a second and staying at thereabouts. The battle for the lead is the best battle on the track. The only other battles even potentially worth noting is Nethery and Elijah. They have about 2 seconds separating them, and then Millett and Truxell about 2 seconds, but I would expect Millett to start gaining time. He's in 6th, but he has 15 seconds before he gets to the next position on track. Steve Singer is in 3rd. He is still running times. He's running banger lap times right now. Last time by, he was actually a second fastest. So this may actually be of note here. So we have 10 minutes left in this race. Steve Singer's running 21. He's last time by 1.1 seconds faster. Let's pull up the lap times on the left side of your screen. A 1:22.1 for Tamira. That's 0.6. The gap. We'll switch back to the gaps. 5.3 now. We have 10 minutes. Lap times are about 1:22. So, I mean, I really don't want to do math right now, but I'm going to gather that is about maybe 8 laps or so that we're going to have left in this. So he's going to need to gain about 0.8 of a second per lap on top of passing these guys. But the thing is he's almost doing it right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see. You can see that just through this midsection here, the timer did stay right around that 5.3 seconds, but it does kind of go up and down, ebbs and flows throughout the lap. But through that midsection there, did gain almost a half second there. That seems to be where he's gaining all of his time, down from 5 seconds to 5.3 to now it's back up to nearly 5, now 4 3/4. Let's see what it is at the stripe. And our leader, we'll bring up the graphic, a 22.21 and a 21.7. So that's right at about a half a second in the bank. And where we're at 8 minutes to go, I think he may get to about 2 seconds, maybe even close enough to the bumper of Dakota Anderson. I don't think he's going to have enough to get there, but we'll see. This is a NASCAR-based league, so a lot of the drivers watching may have watched the NASCAR Richmond race today, where Christopher Bell in second. He was coming in a hurry to take the win on Kevin Harvick and just needed 1 or 2 more laps to get it. And I think we're going to have a similar sentence here this evening. Of course, if you didn't watch that yet, well, I'm sorry for the spoilers, but it is what it is. But I think we're going to be up a similar stature here this evening. And you can see last time by, now he's gained about 0.3 through this section of the track. And for the actual battle for the lead at the moment, Anderson is still stuck within that 3/4 second to 1 second bubble. Hasn't been able to break it yet. Tamira is doing just enough. Let's see what it is this time by, a 22 flat for Tamira. And that time by, Tamira held his ground a little bit better. A 22 flat. You can see Singer at a 21.8. That's barely a 1/10. So if that pace is able to sustain, he's going to be pretty good. You can see there on the bottom there, Duckworth. I think he may have used his fast repair. He's turning great laps, but unfortunately they don't mean anything. Look at Millett there at a 21.6. He is in 6th right now, and you can just look at the laps between him and Elijah. So should be able to get back to the top 5 for Millett. Again, with his win penalties as they are, makes his life a living hell. But the win penalties will not be in effect at the final race at Charlotte. They will be in effect, though, for the next 2 races. So he will still have to contend that, but he will be able to continue and try to get another win at the Roval. Again, that will be with the championship on the line. Looks like Anderson up front, starting to drop back just a little bit, and Singer still closing. Again, 6 minutes to go, so right around 3 to 4 laps, I would gather, that we do have left in tonight's affair. Tamira is just running nice and smooth laps, nothing extraordinary, but you don't have to do that. You just have to run good enough laps. You can't back off the pace too much, but you just have to do just enough and keep the car on the track. And last time by, a 21.8 for Tamira, but Steve Singer, he's at a 21.3, so he just ran his fastest lap of the race. He's really pushing his machine to its utmost limits. That HBR TV Radical with that nice silver and black livery on it. Already has 2 wins this season, both at Sonoma and at the Watkins Glen Cup circuit. Millett has 3, Singer has 2, and then Andrew Locke, Alfie Sherritt, and James Vance are other winners on the campaign. But Singer down to 4 seconds, and just really clicking off some flyers here, but I just don't think time is going to be on his side right now. Coming to 5 minutes to go. So let's just see, a minute 20. So what's that? 2:40, 2 minutes 40 seconds for 2 laps. That'd be about 4 minutes for 3 laps. So yeah, just about 3 to 4 minutes, 3 to 4 laps left to go. And last time by, Singer only 0.3 faster. So there may be a battle shaping up for 7th and 8th right now. I think Duckworth and Truxell, or actually Duckworth may have just taken that spot. And then Zach Millett is within about a lap or 2 of closing in and getting that top 5 Leonardo Elijah just in front of him. Millett's running about 2 seconds a lap faster than Elijah, so shouldn't really have too many issues in that capacity. Jason Nethery hanging on to that 4th spot right now, as I think here comes Millett. Should be able to get him on the backstretch here. So you go nice and wide. No track limits there. You can go as left as you want. I don't foresee Elijah putting up too much of a fight here as we head down into 7 at the end of the backstretch, and Elijah is going to try to drive it in a little bit deep, and he's going to run them side by side. He's not rolling over and playing dead. Yeah, you may be faster than me, but you're still going to have to fight for it. Millett's going to put himself in the grass there. Look at Elijah. He wants that top 5 stat. See, heading into the back end of the track here, and there's going to be that next long straightaway. See on the left, Singer within drafting range at the moment of Anderson, who's really fallen back about 2.5 seconds now. And then here comes Millett to the left side of the track on Elijah. He should have a more than ample run here down the front straightaway. You can see he has the position entering 1. I'll see how hard Elijah puts on the binders there. I don't quite see how long he could hang on. He just doesn't have the pure pace. But he's putting up quite a battle. Surprisingly, how much of a battle he's putting on, given how much faster Millett is. Millett's going to try to send it on the outside, and he'll finally clear, but Elijah definitely put on a commensurate battle there. And here we come into crunch time. Coming to 2 minutes to go, so this should be 2 laps to go. Singer within 3 seconds, so as long as Tamira can keep it on track, I don't see him being able to do anything. Singer is debating whether or not to dive it on in the braking zone. He's going to stay put. If he wanted any remote chance whatsoever, I do think he would have had to send it on in there, but just did not want to risk a potential incident. Coming through the kink here onto the back straightaway. He should have, I would imagine, an ample run into 7. You can see Anderson trying to break the toe there down the back straightaway. And Singer is going to go full send. He's going to yeet it on in there. Anderson had to lock up the binders. But we'll see what happens here. I believe we're going to call white this time by, because the average lap time about that 1 minute 22. And we're going to cross the stripe with probably in the realm of, I'm going to guess, 55-ish seconds on the timer, if not less than that. So we should be getting the white flag this time by for David Tamira. We'll wait for official scoring. Does Barney have it in hand? Yes, he does. So this is the white flag here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. We've run 33 laps, it'll be 34. Tamira has led 31 of them. He'll have led 32 if he can just make it one more time around. Steve Singer doing everything he can, but he's going to come up a few seconds short, again, barring any final mistakes from Tamira. Tamira also has been known to having some connection issues, so hopefully all stays well and wired for this last segment as he does come off of corner number 5 and down the back straightaway there underneath the bridge and into turn number 7. Again, 3 second-place finishes in a row. He's had 5 top 5 finishes in 8 races, and he's just been looking just for that one little break that he needed. The win penalties have come into play for the guys who have been his biggest problems all season. And while Singer tried to overcome it, he's just going to run a little bit short. Coming into the final complex here at Indianapolis. The final left-hander, and he's going to come off of 13 here into 14. And David Tamir is going to get rid of the goose egg. He's going to come off of corner number 14 and get his first win in the SCAR Radical Series here at Indy. Steve Singer 3.2 seconds back in second, with Dakota Anderson running in third this evening. A great race there. Tamir is he can't even wait to do his burnout. He's going to do it here right in turn 1. Don't want to go backwards yet, David. You don't want to get a penalty from race control. He's going to end up going around the racetrack, and we'll wait just a little bit because some guys still do have to finish their lap. Zach Millett, he did get that 5th to round out our top 5. He is just finishing his lap now. Again, with road courses, it does take a bit of time for everybody to complete their laps here and formally complete their races, but looks like everybody pretty much is well and situated here. So let's go ahead and give you the final race results here today from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. David Tamira with his first win of the season, Steve Singer with a second, and then Dakota Anderson with the third. Jason Nethery with the 4th. Zach Millett came back to 5th. Leonardo Elijah with that great battle with Millett at the end with a 6th. Jason Duckworth with a 7th. Mark Truxell in 8th. Neil Quick with the 9th. And then rounding out our top 10 is Andrew Locke. Had a good fight and then had that spin. In the 11th spot, we have Cook Quick, James Vance. Had that incident. Vincent Short had a few incidents here tonight. Cody Harger and Brian Rose 15th, and the remaining drivers did not take to the grid. Aaron Conover, Eddie Rose, and Steven Selby did not take to the grid here this evening. But we're going to try and go down into Victory Circle with our race winner here this evening of David Tamira. David, you got a copy, my friend?
Yeah.
All right, my friend. So you've had many second places all season, and you were just waiting for that one break you needed and not have any mistakes. And you had Steve Singer closing in, but you managed to get your first win of the season. How does it feel, man?
Oh, I feel great. Finally, I got number 1. I worked so hard on this track, and everybody's just really fast. Everybody keep coming on the back, and then I know I'm not the fastest, but I try to be consistent and safe. That's it. That's my key.
Yeah, you did just that. And Steve Singer, he would run a lap time that was about a half second faster than you, but then you'd kind of pick it up and you'd run close enough to him. How much were you looking at that relative screen and the time intervals there in those closing laps?
Yeah, I'm sweating. It's like Steve keep coming, like from 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Oh my God, he's fast. I was like, okay, as long as I just keep driving, keep focus, and then if I can hit like 122, I think I can win it. So I just keep trying to 122. I know he always keep 121. So, oh wow.
Yeah,
I'm sweating.
But the benefit in the curse is you get yourself a win, but now you, my friend, are in the win penalty column for next week. You'll have an EOL, but it's good to have it. It's better to win and have it than I guess not to have it. But any thanks or shout outs that you want to give for your first victory?
I want to shout out to Jason watching me from Indonesia. He came from Indonesia visiting me.
Oh, excellent, man. Well, congrats again on the getting rid of that goose egg, and maybe we'll talk to you at a race upcoming in the season.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
Very excited, David Tamir there. We'll talk to second place, Steve. So you were coming with a head of steam there and kind of akin to the NASCAR race today. Just needed probably about 3 or 4 more laps. You would have got him. What was it like out there tonight?
It was hellacious. The iRacing setup with these cars initially, first few laps are like being on ice skates without the bite to the skate might have, but certainly a challenge. Catching Cody was one thing. It was tough to get by him. I don't know if I would have been able to get by Dave. It was really difficult in traffic. You could catch a guy, even Brian Rose, after his incident that him and I were both involved in. Catching Brian was no small task. Eventually, I think he looped it getting into 13. That's the only way I was able to get by him. But yeah, it was tough going out there.
Yeah, and I know I've read some of your pre-race stuff. You said you really had to commit to how hard to drive this car to get the most out of it. And we saw how, especially coming back onto the oval there, coming onto the front, the car seemed to get really light. What was the overall handling like getting these things, especially once they were up to temp, as you talked about?
Well, it was tight, loose. Some of the corners you'd get in, and if you didn't carry the brake far enough through it, it wouldn't rotate. But then, like you were saying, getting back onto the quote-unquote oval, you're almost wide open. But if you lift just a little before the apex, it was enough to get it down to that rumble strip. You had some grip, and then you could drive out of the corner. But if you tried to go flat out through there, the rear end would come around, and there was a couple of hairy moments for me there.
Yeah, certainly the case. And now we have David with the win, so we'll have one more guy into the win penalty column for I think our next race is at Watkins Glen, so we'll see how that shakes out. Any shout outs, thanks you want to give, man?
It's certainly you guys in broadcast. You guys do an excellent job. Appreciate all the work you've been doing for us this season. It's coming to a close, but it's been a good broadcast season for you guys. We do appreciate that. Of course, HBR TV, HBR, and Track Bar Media, certainly a big helper out here.
All right. Thanks again, my friend, and congrats again. And we'll get a couple more races. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Corey. Have a good night.
Too. And I'm trying to see if we have Dakota Anderson. And trying to make sure Dakota. I'm gonna put 2 and 2 together. All right, I'm gonna put 2 and 2 together and say Cody and Dakota's the same person, right?
Yep.
All right, I got you, man. So you had a great battle there with Steve, and overall it was a good race. Couldn't quite hang on. Steve just had some pace there, but just talk about your race, my friend.
I was actually kind of shocked that I qualified P2. I switched a few things around, and in practice I actually found about 3 seconds, surprisingly, and went out, and Jason and I were kind of running together in qualifying. We got 1-2, and during the race I figured if I could stay up front up until the competition caution, I figured I'd be up there towards the end.
Yeah, and you were, obviously Steve with that, he had his penalty there and he had to overcome it, but you stayed within about 3/4 of a second of Tamir for the majority of the run. Was it aero? Was it just, you guys were just too even? What was that little thing you needed to try to get there maybe before Steve caught you guys?
That's after the restart. I think I was sitting consistently about a second behind him, and I wasn't able to get anything under half a second close to him. And every time I'd get that close, it seemed like David would just flip a switch and he'd pick up the pace a little bit, and I wasn't able to follow it.
But we'll see what happens for you, man, at Watkins Glen, because now there's another driver who is in the win penalty column, and that opens up the races for everybody else. So that being said, you think you have a good shot at the Glen?
Hopefully. I enjoy racing at the Glens. I don't run these cars very much, but I'll put some practice in and see what we can do at the Glen.
See what you can do indeed, my friend. Any shout-outs, thanks you want to give for your podium effort tonight?
Just want to say thanks to Steve and all the SCAR guys for putting this league on, you for broadcasting it for us, and all my teammates over at Lone Star Racing.
All right. Well, congrats again, my friend, and maybe we'll talk to you on the podium at Watkins Glen.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so that is a broadcast here on PTR TV, the SCAR Radical Series. David Tamira with his first career league win. So congrats again to him. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, we really would appreciate if you do so. Just 2 clicks of the button there, and it helps us on our road to 1,000 subscribers. But stay tuned to tomorrow night, where we have the Spartan Sim Racing Elite Cup Series. They'll be on PTR TV on Monday night, and we're looking for more content. So if you are a league owner, you can, of course, reach us at PrimetimeRacingTV.com. But it's Corey signing out of the booth and in the truck tonight. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.